Today on Locked On Rockies, we've been told we got to wait and see with the prospects. We got the prospects in the pipeline. How long should we wait? Can we expect progress this year? Plus, baseball officially back.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 18th day of March in the year 2025. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. And if your team is the Colorado Rockies, you're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here each and every day, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show. You can fire off your Rockies hot takes. You can let me know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies. We've been reading YouTube comments for a bit now, and we're going to keep doing that as long as we got them. So if you got hot takes, you got something on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies, let me know in the comments below. The big question of the day today: how patient can you be with the Colorado Rockies? So what do you need to see this year from the team, from the players? What do you need to know about this team? Or not know, learn, see from this team in 2025. Plus, I am curious also, too, how you Rockies fans felt about the Japan series, the Tokyo series that's going on right now. We're going to talk a little bit about that, too, because baseball is being officially back. It's here. The opening day technically did happen today. If you're if we're talking games that count. So we'll dive into all that and more on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do, got to let you know today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. So, no game yesterday, and one thing I was trying to figure out, because I was trying to I wanted to talk a little bit about the outfield again, just to see if there was some more follow-up, because yesterday Purple Row was talking about the outfield situation. And then I swear, and so let me know if you see any information in the comments. I did Googling, I did some quick searching before I started recording this morning. I thought I saw that Nick Martini might be dealing with an injury right now. I looked on a few sources. I looked on Twitter there, and I couldn't find anything. So I'm not quite sure about that. So I was like, let's not do that. So I was curious by this article here from Kenneth Weber on Purple Row called "The More Things Don't Change, the More They Stay the Same," and it's basically what Purple Row does is the state of the position. And so there's stories on each group, and this one though focuses specifically on the GM. This is specifically for Bill Schmidt. And I when I read this piece, I think it really just drove home the point of this. It doesn't matter who it is when you're talking about the young guys. It doesn't matter what happens. It is just a further example of this team has to show something with this crop of players. Because it not only just because of it's we want to see a winning team. It proves the process and the plan that this group in charge has is working. Because right now, it ain't. Bill Schmidt took over as the GM, 3 years ago. He got named to the position on October 2nd, 2021. So under his watch as a GM, and it's not just his watch, but under his watch as a GM, the Rockies have had the 2 worst seasons in franchise history. And in response to those, we have had quiet off seasons, and of course, we have the Chris Bryant deal. Double checking, was that Bill Schmidt, or was that right before? No, 2022. So I believe that was the big fly of Bill Schmidt's. Let me double check here. This was March 16th, 2022. Yes. So obviously this was seen as the big Bill Schmidt big fish to start things off and with the new GM in the post Arenado world. And I don't blame him for the Bryant thing. But I do, again, I'm sitting here, and there was this one part that really stuck out to me from this piece here, from Purple Row here. And I'll go through and talk about the moves, kind of do a offseason recap here. But I wanted to point out this line here first, and then follow it up with kind of skip forward for another thing. Let's see. Where was it? Oh, man, there was a really good line. Sorry, there's a lot of really good information here. Let me go and find it. Okay. So while names like Charlie Condon, Chase Dollander, Drew Romo, and Zach Veen continue to be recited ad nauseum for the future of the franchise, the 2024-2025 offseason is a good reminder that not all plans run their expected course. The first and most obvious example is to point to Brendan Rodgers, a former third overall draft selection and a future face of the franchise that was non-tendered by his parent franchise after fewer than 500 big league games. Another notable departure was Riley Pint, a fourth overall selection from the 2016 draft that never found much success with the Rockies and is now a member of the Cleveland Guardians examples. The Cleveland Guardians examples. Organization. Not killing it on the brain today. While these are two very cherry-picked examples, they are recent and very large misses that have combined with lackluster aggression and adding talent from outside the organization to throttle the franchise's relevance in recent seasons. But more importantly, they were once the names that were pushed to the forefront by management as the future faces of a competitive age for the organization that never came. Maybe this time will be different. That's the hope, at least. So that's my big question to you Rockies fans. How many times can you keep hearing that? Is that an answer or a reasonable excuse this year? Just wait until they get a little more time under their belt. Just wait till we get Charlie up here, the next Charlie to come up here. Wait till Dollander's up here on the bump here, and Chase is mowing them down, and they're chasing the ball. But I think though, and maybe it's because I talk about the team all the time, maybe because of that just can't fly with me as just your boilerplate basic throwaway excuse this year. This team has to show us that they can develop their players, and they have to show us that these players are going to develop and are on the path to game changer. I will give them that they have two of them on a good path right now. But I'm really not that confident in the organization saying, whoa, wait till these guys get here. Wait until we get what we have in our system up to the majors. We are going to introduce the age of Rockies dominance. It's not going to work from just doing that. So as much as I'm disappointed by the offseason here, and let's just run through a quick recap of what happened here. From this piece again from Purple Row, the more things don't change, the more they stay the same. The GM review on the state of the position here on Purple Row. Notable departures: Charlie Blackmon, Brendan Rodgers, Cal Quantrill, Daniel Bard, Dakota Hudson, Jake Cave. Notable free agent signings: Tyro Estrada, Kyle Farmer, Jacob Stallings, Scott Alexander. And so from the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 names I read are all minor league contracts. Scott Alexander, Diego Castillo, Keaton Hura, Austin Nola, and Jake Woodford. Those are all minor league contracts. They also got Owen Miller from the Milwaukee Brewers for cash considerations. They also signed Jimmy Herget from the waiver wire. The departure, and this is also from the piece here, departure of notable key names made a notable difference in the payroll, dropping it from the 145 million mark of 2024. This conceivably would have left Schmidt some financial wiggle room to play with to help improve the roster. That did not seem to play out, however, as Colorado signed numerous minor league deals to fill out their organizational depth chart and enter 2025 with a $111 million commitment, their lowest since 2016. Whether through the decision-making of Schmidt, owner Dick Monfort, or a combination of both, Colorado is once again preaching the narrative, waiting on the prospect talent already in the pipeline to turn around the fortunes of the franchise in lieu of notable acquisitions through trade or the open market. In the meantime, they'll suffer through the expiring years on veteran player deals, headlined by remaining 4 years and $108 million remaining on Chris Bryant's PG version of an Anthony Rendon-level albatross of a free agent contract. That's it. That's the kind of the scathing part right there. They were successful. They cut their payroll by $44 million. But again, is there going to be enough development from the young guys? Is there going to be enough talent to even start making noise on a wild card level sooner rather than later? Maybe you take one more season off the chin, but you can't compete in this division if you don't start spending money. If you don't start being aggressive and adding talent to this team, it's not going to work. And to be totally honest, it's not going to work to keep telling people to be patient. It's not going to keep working, keep telling people that, oh, look at this crop of players. Oh, look at this crop of players. If the Rockies were in a situation in which they did not have a beautiful ballpark and a beautiful environment to just go for people to enjoy, why would you still be interested? Again, that this year has not given the casual or checked out Rockies fan any reason to tune back in. So I think, again, it isn't the first time I've said this, but when you kind of go over it like that, when you realize that Brendan Rodgers didn't get 500 games with the Colorado Rockies, which is about, basically like less than 5 seasons worth of games, like, and we're told, whoa, wait until this. Whoa, wait until this. Whoa. You know what? Like, I don't want to keep waiting for a fancy dreamland where all of your top prospects develop into the greatest baseball players of all time. Because when has that ever happened? And when has that ever happened for the Colorado Rockies? I think it's a couple of times the Rockies have actually had real good crops of players. I shouldn't be that critical. But at this stage, at this point, we should be hitting we should have hit the bottom already. And unfortunately, I wish I could say my confidence was growing through the spring, whereas I don't think that's true. The realities of other teams, the division just kind of creeping in, and I don't want to be a doubter, but I've been told to wait and see. I've been told that these guys are going to be the next great thing. I've been told that this is going to be the thing that helps to get the Rockies to the next level a million times now. We need to see it this year. Like, it doesn't need to be the Rockies or the craziest thing, but the Rockies need to surprise us this year. And that includes the front office. And in fact, it needs to be led by the front office. Because eventually, if you're not going to be able to compete in this division, continuing with this philosophy. If Doyle and Tovar and Tolia all take the steps forward, and and Nolan Jones bounces back, and we see performance from whoever's in right field, then you have to be sitting there and saying, bargain bin replacement stuff ain't going to work. We're going to go into the offseason. We're going to approach a starting pitcher, and we're going to say, listen, I don't care about Coors Field. Here's the money, 3-year deal. Don't go crazy. Don't go with the 8 years. Don't go with the 9 years. Don't be signing anybody to 15-year deals. You can't just sit back and wait. At some point, the Rockies are going to need to be aggressive, and that includes the trade deadline and the aggression in the evaluation of those players. You're going to have to make the key decisions here about key players, and that whether they be veterans or younger. And again, I just feel my confidence. Unfortunately, my confidence continues to get shaken by the Rockies. I'm not. And it's nothing specifically from spring. Honestly, it's just the fact that nothing changed in the wake of this losing stretch. And we're told to just wait and see. I just don't know how much longer I can do that. It's very because I'm glad they got their payroll stuff cut. I was sure, but I when you really do look at the offseason and you look at that offseason in response to the last two seasons, and really the only driving force in making you feel confident and comfortable is the fact that there's a couple of young guys raising eyebrows and being exciting, and the Rockies are just going to bank on that. And again, I wish I could say I was seeing my confidence grow in the organization. And just like the players on the field need to prove it, the organization themselves needs to prove it more to me as well. Prove that they're willing to make the big move, prove that they're willing to open up the wallet a little bit more, prove that they're willing to improve this team outside of their own box, outside of their own little area, that just their own little pocket of Colorado. And I just don't see that happening. I don't, outside of Chris Bryant, I haven't seen Bill Schmidt really be aggressive about going after people. And that could be totally limited by the ownership, certainly. But if Dick Mumford really is over it, this team needs something new, because I don't know how much longer I can keep being told, wait and see. All right, let's take a break, and I want to talk about actually how pumped I am to see the Japan series and how much I would love for the Rockies to be on that stage. We'll talk about that coming up next in this episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes Just Ingredients. When it comes to fueling your body, quality matters. That's why Just Ingredients is changing the game with clean, high-quality products designed to support better health and peak performance. Just Ingredients offers an NSF-certified line of protein powder, electrolytes, pre-workout, and creatine, all rigorously tested to ensure they're free from substances banned by major athletic organizations. Just Ingredients is also partnered with two-time MVP Bryce Harper, who trusts their NSF-certified sports line to fuel his training and recovery. Hey, you know what? They sent us some over, and yesterday before hitting the gym, I tried some of the pre-workout out, and I'm always kind of hesitant about this type of stuff because the taste is really something that sticks out to me. Hey, the pre-workout tasted like I was drinking some lemonade and helped get me boosted up and ready to go for my workout. So visit justingredients.us/Bryce Harper and use code LOCKEDONMLB for 20% off your order. That's justingredients.us/Bryce Harper and use code LOCKEDONMLB for 20% off your order. And for more wellness tips, follow @JustIngredients on Instagram. We are also brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. When you start using Monarch, you're going to realize just how much you're spending on those streaming services and food delivery, and it's going to help you budget smarter and save more. Plus, if you're managing your finances with your partner, they make it smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Yes, 50% off your first year when you use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com. Monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. This is the Locked On Rockies podcast for free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. If your team is the Colorado Rockies, we are the spot for you. We are talking rocks, taking your comments. Best place to interact with the show is by visiting the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, firing off your Rockies hot takes, and we will read them and talk about them and discuss, because this is actually something, this actually kind of relates to somebody's comment from the other day. Let's hear. So this is Eric saying, Rockies fans, stop showing up. That is the problem. And we've talked about this before. I'm not going to dive into this. Listen, I totally understand why you think that if the fans just stop showing up, the Rockies will do something drastically different and do this. But if you also think about this, the Rockies are cutting payroll in the middle of a season where attendance has declined, but they're not like the worst team in terms of attendance. They've kind of fallen to a middle of the pack attendance team. They used to be a top 10. But I think the last couple of seasons, the Rockies attendance has dipped. And of course, you can sit there and say, well, how many of those are Rockies fans? And it's like, well, that's certainly a reasonable take, because we know that that Rockies fans are often outnumbered. So that's kind of like the thing too. Listen, like any team, any baseball fan, and you know this with baseball fans, are big fans of let's make a trip and go watch our team in X city. And seeing a game in Denver is always on the top of the list for people, because why not go to Colorado in the summer? Why not go when it's beautiful? Why not go and stay right there? There's a million other things, but there's a big drive for the opposing fans to go and check out Denver. So you got that mixed with, like, it's affordable fun in the city in a world that's constantly getting more and more expensive, and areas of the ballpark and experiences at the ballpark have certainly got more expensive. But let's be real. The Rockies aren't a very expensive ticket compared to a lot of other things. So I will never I'm never on the fence of, oh, boycott and don't go, because I think it's already speaking loud enough. I think the lack of actual care about the Colorado Rockies is speaking volumes. I think the lack of coverage. I mean, listen, this show gets connected to some other local media stuff. We're partnered up with Tegna, and let's just say Rockies coverage doesn't jump up to the top of anybody's list. I mean, you all are listening. If you listen to sports radio, how much coverage are the Rockies getting and will get? They will get next week. They will get opening day. They will get opening weekend. But the Avs and the Nuggets are insane. The Broncos are in a completely different spot. So it's not just that. I know I'm rehashing a lot of stuff, so I'm just going back to my point of, it's way more on the Rockies to create an interesting and exciting, not only team, but environment as well, a reason to go to the game. And as we just talked about in the first thing, the whole thing of what they're telling you, the whole reason for you to go to the game isn't very convincing right now. They're telling you to hold on, wait and see. But we have these guys, we have this thing after back-to-back 100-loss seasons, after what we've seen. So they've slashed payroll. They've lost a big face in Charlie Blackmon. They've lost a familiar name in Brendan Rodgers. I mean, there's a lot of work the Rockies have to do to reintroduce these guys to the fans and the casual fans, mind you. Again, if you're listening to the show, you're locked in a little further. But I'm just saying, I don't. The problem is a lot deeper than just Rockies fans going to the games or Rockies fans supporting the team, because we need to remind people that there are passionate Rockies fans out there, as few as there might be. So I just wanted to bring that up, and it kind of sprays up my next topic here is, I think the international start to this year, I think starting the season in Japan is awesome. Whether it might not be always Japan, but like, folks, I think the best thing Major League Baseball can do is one of the best. I shouldn't say the best. I think taking Major League Baseball and exposing it to the rest of the world with baseball, and just embracing the energy and the excitement and the passion and so much more of these fans from other parts, and keep making baseball cool. That is a stadium in Tokyo packed to the brim, tickets more expensive than the Super Bowl, to go watch Shohei play. That's how much people care about one guy. And not to mention the fact that there's a whole other slew of Japanese players that are playing that are playing in this game. But Shohei's the big name. Just and listen to that place. Look at the technology that they're inventing and doing specifically there. Look at all the fun stuff that they got to do. And then imagine being able to do that elsewhere. I know it's weird with the schedules. I know everyone with the time and waking up and all that stuff. I understand that. But if the Rockies were in that experience, I would be soaking up every last second of it. Just because it's so cool. It's why I like the World Baseball Classic. Baseball is so fun when you let baseball be fun, when you let baseball be energetic, when you let baseball fans be passionate. Yes, there's some weird stuff about it. Yes, it's a weird 2-game set that actually counts, and then they go back to spring training and all that stuff, but it's okay. There's 162 ball games. Let's do cool stuff like this. I love the stuff that happens in the middle of the year. I love the Field of Dreams. I love the Little League thing. I love the fact that the Rockies played in Mexico last year. Let the world show how much it loves baseball, and let the world show Major League Baseball how to have fun with the game, how to and fans and players, how to enjoy the game. I love that type of stuff. I know it might not be everyone's cup of tea, especially when you're talking about watching baseball at 6 a.m. on the East Coast, or as at 4 a.m. there in Colorado and stuff like that. But I just think this type of stuff opens the door. I think baseball works so well for this. Football is kind of weird with everything they have to do, but baseball, it's like, and this is the right time of the year to do it. And I'm sure the Cubs players and the Dodgers players, while it's exhausting and all that stuff, I guarantee you, no matter how their careers end, that will be something. That experience will be something that sticks with them forever. And when they get to when players get to see how much people care and love baseball in places, I think that's only a win for the game. Let me know what you think there. I know I kind of got a little off topic on the first part there, kind of repeating myself a little bit, but hey, we're talking about the fan experience. All right, let's take a quick break, read some comments, and wrap this show up right here on Locked On Rockies. Locked On Rockies is brought to you by Supply House. Get the supplies that you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with the complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like dedicated phone lines, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5. That's promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Locked On Rockies here, wrapping up for today. Let me know what you think of the fan experience. Let me know what you think of being told wait and see with the Colorado Rockies. And let's get some recap here from Rockies fans. Before we do that, a reminder, go check out all the great content on the Locked On Podcast Network for your second listen of the day. Let's see what we got going on here. TK says, Paul, while I still believe Freeland does not match up well with true number ones, you have changed my mind, and you're correct saying he deserves to be our opening day guy. I'm also a huge fan of his commitment and his fire. Just wish he could go against other fourth or fifth starters on a regular basis. I think that's a fair thing to say. I mean, the Rockies have put Kyle Freeland, when you're looking at traditional rotation stuff, Kyle Freeland has been put at the start of rotations now for a few seasons, and it hasn't necessarily gone the best. But he's never backed away from the challenge, and he's also been someone I think that serves as a constant leader for that organization, and still deserves that start. So again, there's certainly a few other things that you could have could have gone with. Sheesh, with the way Sens is pitching, I wonder if that was even considered there just to see. I don't think there's necessarily a choice that was that you could have gone in the wrong way. I'm just gonna be curious. It's just curious to see Freeland be the lead in the rotation again when you do have Herman. I thought Freeland might dip down into that second or third spot in the rotation for the Rockies, but happy for the Colorado kid to get another opening day start. Here's another take here on Dick Mumford here. I'm a Braves fan that lives in Denver Metro. My honest opinion, because I haven't seen anything otherwise to tell me differently, is that ownership is perfectly fine being top half in attendance, getting their money and counting attendance records. They've spent money, but they've spent it poorly. No one can apparently pitch in Colorado except the other teams. Not sure our Rockies fans can keep putting up with this. I think that's our question of the show, right? Is how long can you as Rockies fans keep putting up with this? It's a very big year where we need to see a lot of prove it from this team and from this organization, especially from the top. Timothy says, I think he is the right call for opening day relating to Kyle Freeland. The stats from the end of the year back it up. He is solid after the injury, and he's the face of the pitching staff. The spring breakout is awesome. I would love for them to do it again during the season. Still excited for 2025, no matter what happens the rest of spring. Love that, Timothy. Appreciate that. And yeah, I think you nail it there with rewarding Kyle and being the face and letting him rock. He has been and great point there too. I think the problem with Kyle Freeland is the bruises on his career are just kind of some big ones and kind of overshadow, I think, his successes. But yeah, that 3.76 ERA after returning from injury last year being a key part of that rotation for the Rockies. And again, like I said, when you're talking about favorite players on the team, got to be one of my favorite players on the team. All right, folks, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. We'll be back in action with more Rockies action for you here. Ooh, you know what? I was supposed to play something. So I know I was supposed to wrap this up. So I'm going to wrap it up real early. I'm going to play this little promo here for you because we got cool stuff going on the Locked On Podcast Network. So, folks, we'll catch you on the Flippity Flip.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.